songs about rainbows and what's on the other side. Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star. Somebody thought of that and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep in our voices? I've heard them calling my name, my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
This poem is called On a Holy Night in 1969 by Otto O'Connor. On a holy night in 1969, in an inn, also known as a bar, called the Stonewall Inn, a basement which had no running water nor safe fire exits, queer people of many colors and kinds danced together, for it was the only place where they were allowed to dance, at least permitted to by the mafia who ran the inn. In those days, it was common for the police to frequent this inn, not to dance, join in the dance, the underground celebration, but to send the dancers home and make arrests. When they would arrive, the lights would go on, the people would be lined up, and then all those in drag, all those who were trans, all those without proper identification, they were arrested and taken into custody. But on this holy night, that morning of June 28th, these people said, "Not tonight." As they called to them to line up, the trans women refused to go. And as the police began to beat and arrest them, and as the people spilled out from the bar onto the street, Christopher Street, a crowd grew to watch. And then as trans women, lesbians, and gay men were getting arrested, a yell came from the crowd, "Gay power." And as a trans woman was shoved, she shoved back. And the crowd began throwing bottles at the wagon, and suddenly it erupted. For once the people didn't line up. For once the people said, "No more, we've had enough." It was almost as if that night, being pulled out of the darkness of the underground at the Stonewall Inn one too many times, they said, "I'm ready to be seen." On this holy night, when the power of the oppressed rippled through the streets of New York, when the queer people said no more, our world would never be the same. 50 years ago, it was illegal to be gay, to be trans, to dance, and to love, and to celebrate. And now, only 50 years later, here we are, celebrating at a church, gay and straight together, queer and straight together, trans and cis together, all in this together.
We are on the edge of freedom. As a proud member of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm thankful to be free to worship with you, San Mateo, and to join with you as we march in the Saturday, June 14th Pride Parade. The parade will be followed by the annual Pride Festival in Central Park that afternoon. Jack is our contact. I'm Doug Handerson. For my community, demonstrating for our freedoms is especially inherent in our lifeblood. Pride Month commemorates our community of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people and supporters. The first Gay Pride Liberation March took place in Manhattan in 1970 to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, as Susanne said, a pivotal moment in the fight for our rights. The 6 nights of Stonewall riots were in response to this ongoing police oppression at the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village in New York City. Last fall, my partner Peason and I visited the National Park Service's Stonewall National Monument in New York City at the site of the Stonewall Inn. It's actually a little park across the street. Earlier this year, history repeated itself as protesters gathered in front of Stonewall again, this time in response to the recent removal of references to transgender and queer people on the National Park Service website. Personally, the first time I publicly demonstrated was as part of the October 11, 1987 Second National March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights, along with other members and supporters of the gay community, estimated to number almost 500,000 individuals. I joined a large contingent from the High Tech Gays, HTG, a gay social organization based in San Jose, of which I was a member. With close to 1,000 persons on our notification list, HTG membership consisted primarily of those men and women employed in the technology industry. Some of our members had experienced the discriminatory policy of the Defense Industrial Security Clearance Organization, DISCO, Defense Industrial Security Clearance Organization, a unit of the U.S. Department of Defense, that routinely denied security clearances to applicants who were known or thought to be homosexual. DISCO's justification was that those engaging in homosexual behavior could be subject to extortion, and therefore were not appropriate candidates for high-level security clearances. In 1984, HTG became co-defendants in a class action suit against the Defense Department of the United States. Originally successful, the high-tech gays case stalled when 3 judges of the Ninth Court of Appeals ruled that LGBT people are not a suspect class, a group subject to discrimination. They found that, therefore, since those people don't exist, civil rights for them do not apply, meaning the security clearance process can be handled differently for them. The issue was first resolved at the executive level in August of 1995, 11 years later, when President Clinton issued an executive order, number 12968, prohibiting discrimination, and I quote, on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, or sexual orientation in granting access to classified information, end quote. Joyfully, in its 2020 rulings, the U.S. Supreme Court further clarified that it's unlawful to fire someone based on their sexual orientation or gender identity, and that's a direct outcome of decades of advocacy, of course. As we all know, today we face, again, discriminatory and tyrannical decision-making from the party in control of the White House, the House, and the U.S. Senate. In mid-May, the Pentagon issued final orders to begin forcing transgender service members from the U.S. military, giving those affected until June 6th to resign voluntarily or face discharge. As reported by the Advocate magazine, the May 16th, 2025 directive, and I quote, instructs all branches to identify troops with a diagnosis, history, or even symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria. Under Trump administration policy, those who do not seek voluntary separation by the deadline will be processed for involuntary removal, now cleared for enforcement following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on May 6th, end quote. Once again, our Unitarian Universalist values that we share of equity, love, and inclusion are under assault. As we all stand on the precipice that is the edge of freedom, let's continue our fight for that freedom and equality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for sharing your pride with us and your pride lion, and for your resistance. How many of you know that 3 years before the famous Stonewall uprising, there was a historic trans uprising in San Francisco? The Compton cafeteria riot in 1966. Anybody heard of it? A couple people have heard of it. Several people have heard of it. Several, maybe 5. I had not until I started researching this sermon. Compton's cafeteria at the corner of Turk and Taylor Street in the Tenderloin was an all-night restaurant, popular among the queer and especially trans community. Like the Stonewall Inn, it was frequently targeted by police because of the trans clientele, but the Tenderloin is not Greenwich Village. Many of the trans women and drag queens who gathered at Compton's were forced into a precarious life on the streets due to extreme social ostracism. They were frequently arrested for a variety of so-called crimes, including female impersonation. One night at Compton's cafeteria, a trans woman, fed up with the harassment and abuse, flung coffee at an officer who had tried to handcuff her, and a riot ensued. The riot spilled out onto the streets as more trans women and drag queens and more police arrived. It ended with a damaged police car, a burned down newsstand, and paddy wagons. Pushed to the margins, despised and abused in countless ways, the drag queens and trans women of the Tenderloin were done complying. Felicia Elizondo, a longtime transgender activist who participated in the riot, recalls, "We were tired of being treated like garbage. We decided we weren't going to take it anymore." And I think that's the important thing about the Compton's cafeteria riot, that we all got together and said, we have rights too. Although it received virtually no press coverage, the Compton's cafeteria riot was, as Susie Fox writes, a groundbreaking act of resistance. For the first time, the trans community fought back against police harassment, and the upshot was unexpected. One of the leading policemen in the area advocated on behalf of the trans community, and together with pressure from activists, San Francisco's first transgender advocacy group was formed. On this first day of LGBTQ Pride Month, let us remember that Pride celebrations are rooted in resistance. This year, the theme of the San Francisco Pride Parade, one of the largest in the world, is Queer Joy is Resistance. It's a fitting theme for this year when trans and non-binary people are being used as scapegoats by an administration that relies on sowing fear, hatred, and division to consolidate power. Last week, Rev Terry shared with me her take on pride as resistance. Here's what she said. Our LGBTQ siblings and every oppressed minority that has ever been persecuted teach us that resistance is about living bravely in joy, in overt, shameless visibility, being the many things those in power say we are not. We are happy humans. We do have families. We do contribute to society. We are not lawless against divine love. And when others who are not under threat show up in solidarity with us, the fear-mongering lies become even more apparent. That was our own Reverend Terry Eckelbarger. According to the website Trans Legislation Tracker, 910 anti-trans bills have been introduced across the country in 2025. 103 have passed so far, which is twice as many as passed last year, which was itself a record-breaking year for anti-trans legislation. And we are only halfway through the year. This fear-mongering assault on trans and non-binary people is one of many signs of rising tyranny in this country. Scapegoating is a common tactic of fascist leaders and movements who seek to divert blame and sow division in order to bolster their own power. Pride is a celebration of and for the LGBTQ community, and I do not want to dilute that or claim it for straight cis people. At the same time, LGBTQ pride is a practice of defiance and a defense of freedoms that benefits us all. I am not a member of the LGBTQ community, but I fiercely love many people who are, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that our freedoms and joys are all bound up together. And I have never felt this truth as keenly as I do now. Less than 2 weeks ago, the U.S. Secretary of Defense led a Christian prayer service in the Pentagon. Maybe you heard about it. The service was on a Wednesday during work hours in the auditorium, not the chapel. All Department of Defense personnel were invited. Secretary Hegseth's own pastor was the featured guest, a well-known Christian nationalist whose church condemns homosexuality and bars women from leadership. The preacher referred to Donald Trump as a divinely appointed leader. Secretary Hegseth plans to hold these prayer services monthly at the Pentagon. The date of our local Pride Parade and Festival, in case you missed it here in San Mateo, is when? June 14th, the same day that the president is organizing a massive military parade on his own birthday and Flag Day too. The contrast between the two parades couldn't be greater, and neither could the choice facing us. LGBTQ pride is a powerful form of resistance against tyranny and oppression. No matter where we are in the rainbow of sexual orientation and gender expression, celebrating and supporting LGBTQ pride matters. It matters because ultimately it's about insisting upon the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And it's about freedom. The freedom to love who we want to love. The freedom to be who we know ourselves to be. The freedom to define our own identities. The freedom to create and define our own families. The freedom to make decisions about our own bodies. The freedom to access necessary health care for ourselves and our children. The freedom to choose our own religion, or to choose no religion at all. Reverend Amy Zucker-Morgenstern of the UU Church of Palo Alto is organizing a UU contingent for the San Francisco Pride Parade this year on June 29th. In her invitation, included in our Friday bulletin if you want more information, Reverend Amy writes, 1 million people flank Market Street to watch the Pride Parade each June. How many of them know that there is a religious community in the Bay Area that has been celebrating with them, welcoming them, ordaining them as clergy, and fighting for their freedoms for over 50 years? Let's show them by proudly marching as a Unitarian Universalist contingent. And I think that's a fantastic idea. I hope some of you will go. It's on June 29th. And that is a Sunday morning. But Pride is, for many, a high holy day. And for good reason. People gathering to celebrate freedom, wholeness, diversity, joy, and love. It sounds like a good UU worship service to me. Spreading the good news of our welcoming and free faith to those who might be looking for community, even better. When it comes to LGBTQ inclusion, we Unitarian Universalists have reason to be proud. We have long been in the forefront of religious support for LGBTQ people. Not perfect, for sure. We still have plenty of room to grow, particularly when it comes to transgender inclusion in congregations, at the congregational level. We have room to grow. But we UUs have reason to be proud of the ways we have applied our religious principles and values to the struggles for LGBTQ rights. The inherent worth and dignity of every person. Freedom, pluralism, and interdependence. Justice, equity, and inclusion. All-inclusive, liberating love. Reverend Juniper Meadows, a trans UU colleague of mine, writes, in a desperate time when anxieties are spiking and fear looms large, trans people Our finding everyday common joy of life is an act of real and righteous resistance. While too often misunderstood, we trans people must understand that our presence in this world is a gift of permission to all we encounter to follow their hearts, to live their dreams, and to never settle for shame. We offer thanks to our trans kin, past and present, near and far, for that gift of permission and for the inspiration. May we return that gift now through our courage, solidarity, and love. May it be so. And amen.
So our next song is 40s for the musical One Touch of Venus by Weill and Ogden Nash. And though it's very playful on the surface, it also captures the feeling of being out of place in a world that doesn't always understand you. And so I think it becomes a wry, poignant reflection on queerness and inclusion, searching for love, acceptance and belonging in unfamiliar territory. And so we offer this to you in the spirit of pride and in the embrace of such an inclusive community.
They say love can be so romantic, with birds singing round your head. So why does he seem so unsettled? Is it me? Am I just confusing him instead? Tell me, is love still a popular suggestion, or merely an obsolete art? Forgive me for asking this simple question.
I'm unfamiliar with his
Heart, I'm a stranger here, myself a stranger here, myself. So
why is it wrong to murmur I adore you when it's shamefully obvious I do?
Obvious I do. Does love embarrass him, or does it bore him? I'm only waiting for my cue. I'm a stranger here, myself. I dream of a day, of a gay, warm day, with my face between his hands. Have I lost the path? Have I gone astray?
I ask and
no one understands. Love me or leave me, that seems to be the question. I don't know the tactics to use, I don't know, but if he should offer a personal suggestion, how could I possibly refuse when I'm a stranger here myself? My heart is in danger.
Please tell a stranger, my curiosity goaded, is there really any danger that love is now outmoded?
He's interested especially in knowing why you waste it. True romance is so flashly, with what have you replaced it?
What is your latest foible?
Is gin rummy more exquisite?
Is skiing more enjoyable? For heaven's sake, what is it?
What is it? I can't believe that love has lost its glamour, that passion is really passé.
If gender is just
a term in grammar, how ever find my way since I'm a stranger here myself? So
how can he ignore my available condition?
Why these Victorian views?
You see here before you a man with a mission. I must discover the key to his ignition. And then if he should make a diplomatic proposition,
then how could I possibly refuse?
possibly refuse?
How could I refuse when I'm a stranger here myself? A stranger here myself, a stranger here myself.
One more on the way out.
Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine all day long. Ba-doo-doo-doo. Sunshine in your smile, make me happy, so happy all the while, all the while. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness, so much joy you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy all through the years, never bring me not any tears. Don't bring me none of those tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine. Da 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 ba do da da. Da ba do da da ba da ba do wa ba da ba do da ba da da ba do ba do ba say do ba do ba do ya ba do wa da da do wa da ya da 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 ba do ba do ba do ba do ba da ba do way zuba do da 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 zuba do ba you ba do ba za ba do we da da do we ya ba scuba do wa da ba do wa ya da 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 zuba do ba you ba do ba do ba do ba do da do wa da do wa yeah do ba do wa ba do wa ya do ba do ba do ba do ba do wa ya ya da da zuba do wa ba do ba do 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 ba oh yeah sunshine oh sunshine in your smile right in your smile bring me laughter you got every day all the while bring it all the while let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above bring me fun better bring me fun bring me sunshine bring me love bring me fun in the sun make me smile till the day is done bring me all your sunshine and your love bring me
Thank you.